podcast for those who suffer, which is everyone.
It's a space where we can speak honestly about what it feels like to be in desolate places without losing hope.
Welcome to In the Thicket. Friends, this is the last episode of season 2 of In the Thicket. We want to thank you so much for being with us along the way, whether you've joined us just a few episodes ago or whether you've been with us right from the beginning. And we're going to take this episode to share some of the things that have really stuck with us from this season, and also to take a look ahead towards the summer, what's going to be happening with us. And we look forward to being with you again in the fall. We'd love for you to connect with us over social media during the summer. And please know that we'll be praying for you, and please pray for us. God bless you all.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, guys. I'm Rachel, and I'm here with...
I'm Erin.
I'm Nicole.
And we're here, and we're recording the final episode of our season this year, In the Thicket, final episode. What's going on? Season 2. It's kind of crazy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Jinx, you know?
You owe me a Coke. Did you do that one?
No, we didn't. We've talked about this before on the podcast.
Oh, right.
And how I do not play these games.
Yeah. Right. Yes, that's right. I mean, I'll take a Coke though if anybody has one.
Well, I honestly, I got to tell you, one of my parents works for Pepsi, so I can't. I think we went through this before. I can't do this whole Coke thing.
Deja vu.
It's literally, it's just not allowed in my house. So yeah, it's crazy, right? We're here. We've done a whole season. I was thinking about this earlier. It's like we started our podcast during COVID, and now for Canadians, finally. The world should know we're finally kind of moving out of kind of intense restrictions and, no
more mask mandates, no more vaccine passports for most stuff. Yeah.
And it's kind of tracking with the end of our season. So like our second season sort of ending, and the next season, which we're coming back in the fall, it's going to be like, there's not going to be a COVID kind of situation going on. So that's going to be different.
Rachel, careful. Don't jinx it.
I'm sorry. Whatever. Nothing. Right. I said nothing.
I'm sure it'll be something new, like aliens have landed on the planet.
Right. Yeah,
there's, we've all gone underground, but rest assured, trusty listeners, we will podcast.
That's right.
In the face of alien invasion.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll even interview for that. Some of the aliens.
Exactly. Great. Yeah. How are they adjusting? What's their suffering like?
That's right. Exactly. What is outer space suffering really like? Yeah, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. It's very pertinent.
You guys, I don't know. Are you all tired? Are we all tired this morning? Like,
we might be.
It's good.
I don't know. Does it mean that I'm tired if I think what we're talking about is interesting? Possibly. Yes. But yeah, awesome. I've had kind of a weird week though, you guys. So my family has been through actually a lot this week. We lost a close family member, and it's just been very, death is always very jarring, and it's just been a lot of mourning and just tough stuff this week. But I have this sort of like light in the dark story where my mom went to actually, because she's going to visit my aunt to sort of be there with her family while we're going through all of this. And she went to get her nails done before she left, because she's going to England actually. So it's far away. And she just kind of wanted to be put together and, ready to go. And she went to get her nails done, and she sat down, and the nail technician saw my mom was wearing a crucifix or a cross. And she's like, "Oh, you're wearing a cross." And she didn't really quite speak English. I think she's Vietnamese. She didn't fully speak English. She was like, "You're wearing a cross." And my mom was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Are you Christian?" Mom was like, "Yeah, I am. I'm Catholic." And she's like, "Oh, I'm Catholic too." Aww. And then she proceeded to tell my mom, she's like, "Oh, I go to mass every day and I love the Lord." And while they were doing my nails, my mom had this whole conversation, and she was just like, this woman she told me, she was like, it was like a little saint. She's like, I just met this little beautiful woman who just loves Jesus and was sharing all these stories about miracles in her life that the Lord had done for her.
Wow.
I know. Right. And it was just such a comfort to my mom and it's just, like I said, it's just been a tough week. So I was just thinking like, about vocation and work and things like that. And I was like, this wonderful woman who's doing nails, like that's her job, that's her work. And she does them really beautifully, but she's like evangelizing people, just just in the midst of her work, which has nothing to do with like formal ministry or like anything like that, you know? And I just thought, how beautiful is that? And she has no idea how much that meant to my mom in this kind of really tough week that we're all having. So, you know, just a little light in the darkness.
That's
Isn't that
so
so
cute.
cool?
That is beautiful.
So funny. The nail place around the corner from my parents' house, the family there is also Vietnamese and also Catholic.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So
maybe
yeah,
it's a good, you know, you could ask your
nail
pedicurist
technician,
or nail technician, or you know, ask them but the state of their relationship with Jesus.
Yeah.
Surprising.
I think it makes for great conversation over getting your nails done. Absolutely.
Or really awkward, depending on what ends up happening.
That's true.
So
fair.
Follow the lead of the Holy Spirit, folks.
That's right. Exactly.
That's fair. Yeah. Cause then you really do have to sit there and wait while your nails dry. Guys who are listening, I'm sure you don't really get your nails done, but there's a lot of waiting involved. So yeah.
Although I do recommend getting your nails done. Like they give a really good, usually like foot and calf massages. But you don't have to get them painted. You can just get
you know.
I've only got my nails done maybe twice in my life because I'm a musician. And so it's kind of pointless to do your nails because they need to be completely short all the time. And then if I'm, strumming the guitar, I just get wrecked anyway.
Off.
So I'm just
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, well, manicures are for men too. That's what we learned in this segment.
That's right.
In the thicket. But yeah,
and aliens suffer. Sorry,
and aliens do suffer if they exist, which they might. Who knows? But yeah, so I don't know. It's been a weird week, but I've kind of been grateful. The Lord's been very present with all of us, but. So I'm here and like, it's our last episode. And like, this is so nuts. It's just, life is so surreal sometimes. And I'm kind of in that surreal zone. So I guess we wanted to just look back on our season and talk about what kind of hit us, I think most deeply. And then just share with you guys, with all you listening, what we're planning on doing in the summer and just invite your ideas and your input as we prepare for season 3, which is insane. So Nicole, why don't you start us off? Like, how is this last season for you? What sticks out?
Yeah. It's funny, as we were just talking about this, I was like, okay, I got to go look back and see what our episodes are. Cause I just don't remember. And as I was looking through them, there's a lot of them that were impactful, but I think rather than focusing on a specific episode, I think what really stuck out to me this year was that, this was a kind of a crazy year of my life. I moved to a different country. I started a new job. I continued working on the PhD. I got engaged. So there's just like a lot going on. And, but we continued doing this podcast and having these Zoom meetings and having these conversations, kind of whatever we could fit them in. Sometimes, early in the morning or late at night and often on the weekends. And I often was just kind of reflecting on the fact that, even in the most busy times, and there was a couple times where I couldn't be present for an episode because I just literally did not have the time slots open. But most of the time I was here, and the conversations were so meaningful that this has always felt like just such a gift to be able to do. It's not something that makes my life busier. It's something that makes my life actually more meaningful and make sense more. And the number of times that we've had a guest on who said something that I just needed to hear. It's like almost every week there's something where I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I needed. The Lord knows exactly what I need and who I needed to talk to, or even just in our conversations, ladies, with your own wisdom and insight. So I think that's my reflection on this year, is just like, just like the concept of busyness is not just the number of things you have on your plate, but it is, kind of goes back to Ignatian spirituality, like what gives you life, what brings you alive, and then those are the things to do. And obviously, there's certain limits, human limits, of course, but just reflecting on how much this podcast has brought me so much life, and hopefully to you or our listeners as well. But that's been my experience. So yeah. What about you, Erin?
Yeah. So I think similar to you, definitely. Part of this is the extrovertedness, because being with people just makes me energetic, whatever. But even more than that is just the constancy of the friendship that we have, which is such a gift, such a gift. Like I cannot even, especially this year, because it's been a hard year. Like it's been a rough year for me and for like family, for my sister. Like it's just, there's just been lots of stuff, you know? But having the ability to come and even share about some of that stuff, like when we had the episode on loved ones suffering or things like that, like it's such a gift to be able to like share even in just our random conversations together, like what's happening, or just like to post a prayer thing and just to know that in the background of everything there's people who love me and they care about the things that I can't, like they're like, there's just such a gift in that, you know. But also I think so there's like that in general, I would say too, for sure. And then I think specifically even there's like one particular thing which I talked about before, from the episode with Anya, where we talked about we talked about the book of Revelation and all those kind of things as part of our Advent series. But what she talked about the translation of from Ephesians, though he was in the form of God, Jesus not deemed equality with God something to be grasped at, and that the translation of that is more accurate to say because he was in the form of God. Jesus, so like this sense of in that particular moment, but also this year, I've had this kind of growing sense of like the Lord, that he can't hold himself back from me. So it's just been a dispelling of some of the ways that we, you know, how we see God in the image of people as opposed to seeing people in the image of God. It's been a dispelling of some of that for me. And even the last episode, Rachel, where you talked about, like in the Psalm 22 one, where you talked about love swallowing sin, you know, and like, oh man, and there's such a, like, that was such a beautiful image for me. And I'm going to take that into the, you know, like Holy Week, like the rest of the year, like that's been a huge thing for me, which is good. So the Lord is doing some really, like, I'm really grateful for that. And a lot of that has come through the conversations that we've had this year. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
What about you, Rach?
Yeah, I can so relate. I think the idea of these conversations being kind of a constant in our lives is, I was just talking to my sister about that the other day, because I'm kind of in the thick of it right now with my thesis. It's kind of crazy time and it's super busy, but I really am grateful for these pockets of time that we've dedicated to this not work, but like this kind of journeying together with each other and with our listeners. And it definitely does bring me life. And it also propels me forward then in the stuff that I'm struggling with and struggling to do, you know, in terms of my everyday calling. So that's kind of awesome. But I think in terms of this year, I like the Sister Miriam episode really stands out to me, because for me, that was an instigator for this whole podcast beginning. And I was like, well, she's, you know, we're, you guys listening, we're just, you know, just like regular folk. We're not like
Catholic celebrities.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But like, well, you know, I didn't think that we would actually be able to, she would actually be willing to come and, you know, she's so busy but she was so sweet and open and willing. And at the time that we were speaking with her, and still today, I'm going through this journey of healing and have been for many years. And the things she had to say just really meant a lot to me in the moment that I heard them, and were really applicable to my life. So that's really cool. And I think part of me is like, I'm really hoping that the Lord is using these conversations for others who are listening in the same way, because it has been such a gift and such a privilege. And that's kind of, I think, our goal is to share these conversations with each other, and then hope and just praying that the Lord will use them for other people in that kind of vein. But yeah, just for myself, I know that I benefited very, very deeply from those conversations with Sister Miriam, especially, but so many all throughout the year. And I think it's almost like season 1 and season 2. I almost, when I'm listening to episodes, I like know what was going on in my life at the time. It's like God is, each episode that we've done has not been accidental. Like the people that we've spoken to, like you said, Nicole, I think the Lord's really just brought them to each of us where we were at in that moment. And that's been a really cool thing to see, you know, like a meta God wink almost.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny how God is.
Yeah.
So let me qualify.
So, yeah.
But he can use like the same episode or like different episodes, and he's like speaking like hopefully to people who are listening, but then also to me in some way, and then to Rachel in some way, and to Nicole in some like like that's such a God thing, you know?
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted. Nicole, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, you're fine. I was just sometimes it hits me. I'm just like, isn't it great that God is real?
Yeah.
Like
yes. Really.
Yes. Yeah.
It's so true. I think too that our goal with this podcast is to journey through suffering. And that's something that, you know, we've had a lot of cool insights and things like that in each of our episodes. But I think that the deepest experience for all of us, and we've articulated in different ways, is that, yeah, I was like going through stuff when that person spoke into that experience. It wasn't just like, oh, this is a cool idea or this is a fun concept. It was like, oh, like that was Jesus speaking into my place of pain or my place of struggle that I'm going through right now. And that's like the beauty of the Christian life in terms of suffering, is that like we're not just supposed to deal with the pain, but there's like love and grace and the presence of God to be experienced in the middle of that. And I think that's literally what each of us in different ways have expressed in terms of our experience so far. So what a gift. That's so cool, you know?
Yeah.
So
looking ahead. Ooh.
Well, Erin, why don't you start? What's your
honestly, this is good for me to start because I have like the like least like, I don't know, crazy transformational things, whatever that are happening. I actually just saw today that there is a scholarship available from the Hildebrand Project, which is this thing they operate like mostly through Franciscan University of Steubenville, and they study Dietrich von Hildebrand, Alice von Hildebrand, like writings, you know, but more so in the bigger frame of things, it's like personalism. So like this is like partly, you know, JP2's framework of like the dignity of the human person and what it means for us to be a person and to treat each other as persons, and the things that take away from, you know, so like that whole area is definitely a part of suffering, and like the dignity of the human person in suffering, and that was like partly what I wrote about in my thesis, and it's a lot of what I'm writing in, like I'm still working on this book. So please, if you're listening to this, please keep praying for me. Thank you for the prayers already, because the Lord is like, stuff is moving along and I'm writing consistently, which is really great. And I'm like excited about the stuff that I'm writing about. You know, when you start writing about something and you're like, oh, this is kind of taking a different shape than I originally thought, but like it's good. And like, you're like, you don't know exactly what it's going to look like. And you're like, oh, but it's like exciting. Anyways, so I saw this thing from the Hildebrand seminar that they're offering scholarships for writing. So basically they'll give you money to do a project. So I think I might actually apply for that, which would be really cool. Because also I keep seeing these ads on my Facebook to go to Newfoundland and like rent places for like a month for super cheap. I've never been to Newfoundland, so like you never know. Maybe I'll go for like a month over the summer, hang out in Newfoundland.
Newfoundland's great.
Yeah, and look at some rocks and write about suffering. So that's kind of my.
I love your description. First of all, Erin, I'm like, can you write my thesis for me? Because personalism is about where I'm at right now. But also, you're talking about your experience of writing. And you're like, you know, when you're taking different shape. I'm like, do you know when you start writing and you're like, do you feel stupid? Do you know that? If you guys had that, that's my experience right now. It's like not the experience of like, wow, this is so cool. My experience right now is like, yeah, can I think? Do I have brains? How do my brains work? Does any of this make sense? Somebody help. That's kind of where I'm at. So different writing experience.
You'll get past that because I'm fully confident in the capacity of your brain. That is one thing I am not in doubt of in this life. So
appreciate it.
Yeah. How about you, Nicole?
Yeah. So this year, Nathan and I are going to get married this summer in Winnipeg. So we're in the midst of, we were like, we didn't want to wait all the way till next year to get married. And then my school year is pretty hectic. So I didn't want to get married during the school year. So then we're like, well, all right, this summer. So end of the summer, we'll be getting married. And so in the midst of planning that right now, of course, lots of things to figure out. So that's that. And then just going into my second year of being a professor and teaching, as well as hopefully finishing and defending my dissertation this year would be the goal. That is ideal. So that's Just
that's a lot of stuff, man. That's like
See,
a lot of major stuff.
It was good for me to go first because I'm like they're transitions. So you guys have some really cool. I'm so excited for the wedding. You know,
I know it's gonna be
your
great,
wedding
you guys.
dress and like it's so beautiful. Yeah.
It's good. You can pray for Nathan and I because we're looking. We're each living in our own places right now, so we're looking to find an apartment to rent together. But the housing and rental prices in Nashville have skyrocketed. For example, the room that I'm in right now, the apartment, has gone up by almost $400 since last year.
Wow.
And so, I mean, I'm not paying that, but anyone who moves in will pay that. So it's really, really tough to find a place. So you can say prayer for us because that's the challenge right now. Struggle, but the Lord will provide. I know that everywhere I've ever moved and lived, there's always been something that's come up and it's all worked out. So anyway, What about you, Rachel?
My summer is also crazy. I have accepted an offer to begin doctoral studies in Washington at the JP2 Institute. So I'm really, really, really excited about that. But it's just a huge transition in lots of ways. I've never lived in the States. I mean, I've obviously visited lots, but I've never really lived there.
Oh my gosh, I forgot to tell you. So the other day I was at Mass downtown at St. Pat's Basilica in Ottawa. And there was this woman who came up to me after Mass. She's like, where's Metcalf Street? Where is this? So she was asking for direction. I was like, well, and it's raining out. So I was like, do you just want a ride? Like I can give you a ride over. And she was like, oh, that's so, anyways, this is great. Her name was Janet and she was from DC. And so I was like, my friend is going there for her. So, Janet,
I know Janet from DC.
That's right.
Well, isn't she here now though? She's in Ottawa.
Yeah, but just for a wedding. She's just here for a wedding.
Okay, so I got to stalk Janet from DC who met my friend Erin in Ottawa.
Shout out to Janet.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Awesome. Continue.
No, exactly. I mean, I'm just like excited to meet new people and kind of get acquainted with everything there. And the other thing is I'm drinking from a very special mug today that says, do you see it? That was I hope I just blew the sound out of my mic when I laughed into my mic. So my nephew, my soon to be born nephew is going to be born on May 1st. So we're recording this and it's literally less than a month away. We don't know if he's going to be born on May 1st. Anytime basically from now till May 1st, he could arrive. Right. So that's exciting, really, really exciting. And I can't wait to meet him. He's huge right now.
That's awesome.
Sister-in-law's belly is just massive. And he's trying to make his way out through her belly button, I think, every time. He's just pushing that way. I'm like, not that way, dude. But he'll figure it out. He'll figure it out.
That's right.
We'll all get to meet him and we're so excited. So that's my other really big exciting news. And but season 3, we're going to start and Erin's going to be almost done her book, if not done her book, maybe.
Please, Lord.
And and Nicole's going to be a wife and hopefully in a new apartment in Nashville somewhere. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be somewhere in DC and we'll see you guys from all those new and different places, wherever you're at, wherever you're listening. So
that's
can't
crazy.
Wait. Yeah.
I'm excited right now to hear our first podcast of the episode of the fall to be like, what's happening?
Right.
And I'm sure we'll go through lots of suffering, from now and then. So we'll have lots of new material.
Right. Exactly.
We'll make sure, I'll make sure these ladies suffer if there's nothing else.
That's right. Yeah. Good.
But pray for us, everybody listening, and know that we're praying for you. And if you guys have things that you're going through that you would like to hear about, please let us know because, we are going off of our own experiences and the experiences of people in our community, but there's always more stories out there. So if there's something you want to share or something you're interested in hearing about, definitely write into us on Instagram or Facebook, or by email. We're at In the Thicket pretty much everywhere. So at In the Thicket podcast.
In the Thicket podcast.
Yeah. Before we say, adieu to season 2, throw a little French in there. Erin, do you want to share God wink?
Yeah.
Our final God wink.
final God wink of season 2. Hopefully it'll be good. So, so yesterday I was like, oh, okay, I need to go and get my eyebrows waxed because so this is a good God wink already. It's going to be good. Anyways, it was like, cause I don't wear makeup. I don't do anything fancy with my hair. I don't like nothing like that. The only thing that really bothers me is when I have caterpillars living above my eyes and they're uncontrolled. And I just am like living in fear because my dad has these hairs on the corner of his eyebrows that like poke up like owl. Like they're like owl tufts, you know? Anyway, so I'm like constantly vigilant about this. And then also on my upper lip, like a little bit of the hair there, like when I start looking like I actually have a mustache, it's time to get that dealt with. Anyways,
we can have an episode sometime about facial hair on women. And how some women have a lot of it.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
As a caveat to this, I would really like to have an episode where we have men and women. We talk about, we compare our grooming sufferings, facial grooming sufferings. I'm like, listen, cause they do have to shave every day. And I feel like that's not always, I mean, they don't have to, but they have to, you know, but it's like, if you want to look put together, you either have to shave or trim your beard or whatever. So I'm just curious. And like, I complain about being a lady and like having to deal with hair removal.
Right.
You're welcome, everybody listening, by the way.
That's right. Yeah.
But I'm just interested to know what the man experience of this is. Like, is it really a pain in the butt to deal with your face stuff every day?
See?
You know? Anyways, we'll get there.
For next
we
season,
already,
right.
Exactly. It's perfect.
It's the little things.
It's the little things. Yeah.
Erin, finish your story.
Sorry. Yeah. This is good. But yeah, so I was like, and I haven't been for forever, like since like before the last, I don't know, lockdown restriction stuff. So I was like, Lord, I just really like to go do this. So I Googled a place. There was like a super like nice looking place that's actually close to my parents' house for pretty good prices. And then I booked online and they had a thing like available like an hour later, which was like perfect. Anyway, so I went to this thing and I was like, because I was just tired. And you know, when you're like tired and you're like, Lord, I just need you to just work out my life just tonight. I don't want to think about anything. Just like you do, you know?
You do.
I went to this place. The lady was so nice. And like she did my upper lip and the eyebrows, and it was like a lovely place, super relaxing, like spa like place. I was like, this is great, good price. And then I went out and then I started driving my car and I drove like 3 parking spots and then realized that there was a microbrewery right there that I had never seen. So I pulled my car in. I drove 3 spots and pulled my car in again. Went into this place and they had some like lovely stouts and stuff. So I bought myself like a 6-pack tester thing or whatever. Anyways, for those of you who know me, you know that I enjoy like craft beers, you know, nice beers, good wine, whatever. So that was super exciting. And then I got back to the car and I looked in the mirror, and because I had my eyebrows and upper lip waxed, I had a literal red line, like bright red, like across my face and across my lip. Like I looked like I had some kind of very odd sunburn. Very odd sunburn.
Were people like trying? Did you realize that people were like, why are they looking at me a little different?
Because it was a guy behind the counter in there, and I think he did wonder, because I was like he just looked very interested in my face, and I was like, maybe he sees the Lord.
I mean, maybe still, maybe still
he did. But you know, when you just feel like very full of joy, and you're like, I feel like Jesus is like
pouring out of my
it was face. Not that. It was because I had a weird sunburn like thing. Anyway, so I got back into the car and I saw that, and it was just one of those moments where you're just like laughing at the Lord, like life is ridiculous. Like I have just pulled hair off of my face by hot wax, went to get beer, and I look like a crazy person. Anyways,
that's so funny.
Yeah, so
that's
good.
great.
I love that. Yeah. Well, God bless that guy. You know, he really held it together.
That's right. He might have even seen it before, because he is 2 doors down from an eyebrow place. So
like
that's true.
It'd be like, maybe he's just a little bit clueless. So he's like, why are there always these people with those red things on their face? So weird.
Like,
never seen this in past jobs.
Yeah.
Maybe he's listening right now.
Yeah. If you are, mystery solved, my man. Mystery solved.
Erin, your eyebrows look great, by the way.
They do.
They do look really great.
She did such a good job. Yeah, I love it.
She didn't talk to you about Jesus while she was waxing your face,
right.
eh?
No,
sorry.
But it's okay.
That's great.
It's okay.
Sorry, Nicole, what were you saying?
Oh no, I was just reflecting. I have never had my eyebrows done professionally, which is maybe why might have very prominent eyebrows. They're very dark, and I've
They're
eventually
beautiful.
I
They're
just
lovely,
thank
though.
you. I've
They're
just given up on
well-maintained.
them. They are what they are, and they're free. So
They're
someday
beautiful.
they'll
And
be
they're very in style
more
right now.
wild.
Like the
Yeah.
big,
Yeah, there's
like,
that
Grateful
Phil
for that.
Collins'
Not the
daughter,
painful-
Lily Collins. She's got eyebrows
Oh.
like that. I
Yeah.
don't know if she's a great actress, actually.
Cool.
yeah.
But yeah, so on
Anyway.
that note, wax your eyebrows or don't. And if you do, we might have an episode for you on how that suffering can draw you closer in relationship to the
That's
Lord,
right.
because
That's
everything
right.
can. But yeah, we love you guys and we're so grateful. I just want to
Mhm.
say that we're so, so incredibly
Yes.
grateful to you listening and for your feedback. We've gotten some really great feedback this season.
Mhm.
And yeah, if you want to give us some feedback, good or bad, please feel free to message us or review. We don't normally ask for reviews, but maybe since it's the last episode,
It
I'll
really
just
does
put it
help.
out
Like
there.
on
Yeah.
Apple
Honestly.
Podcasts, especially, it really helps to have those reviews for other people to discover us too.
Mhm. So yeah, if you are so inclined, please do give us a review and pray for us, and know that we'll be praying for you, and we'll see you guys in the fall.
Amen.
Amen.
Yay.
God bless
Thanks.
you
God
guys.
bless.
God
Bye.
bless you. And and happy Easter.
Oh,
Oh
yes.
yeah.
This
Happy
Easter.
Easter.
We're recording just before Holy Week, but this will come out and it'll be Easter and it's the resurrection, and praise God for that. So happy Easter, everybody.
That's right. Happy Easter. God bless y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of In the Thicket. If you like what you hear, give us a rating and hit that subscribe button. We have new episodes every Monday with more stories and honest conversations about life when the going gets rough, and the hope and humor amidst it all. We'd love for you to join our community on Instagram and Facebook at In the Thicket Podcast. While you're there, let us know how we can pray for you. God bless, and see you next week.